Welcome to the Outlaw Radio Show. My name is Adams, and I pastor a church located just outside of Athens, Georgia, home of the Rock Lobsters. Isn't that right, Vinny?
That's right.
Claws up.
Claws up.
Claws up, claws up. Anyway, home of the Rock Lobsters. We're located outside of Athens, Georgia. Name of the church is Calvary 316. If you're local, come hang out with us one Sunday morning. Our service is at 10:30. If you're not local but looking for a Bible teaching church you can connect with on the interwebs, we do live stream our service. The easiest place to find us is our YouTube channel, which is Calvary316.live. We'd like to give a plug for that. You can learn all about the church by just going to our website, which is Calvary316.com. I am joined, as always, by the man that needs no introduction, the maestro of this dysfunction, Pope Creighton Vaughn.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm trying to find my camera. It's that one. Welcome to the show.
More official that you actually have your own, like, Pope Creighton X account.
I have my own Twitter account.
It's not Twitter.
What? I'm going to call it Twitter until the day I die.
They actually just deleted the Twitter handle this week.
Really? I didn't know
they actually axed it.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's not Twitter. You got to call it X.
So I have my own Friendster account.
I'm on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it is at Pope Creighton. If you want to see me get into fights with mostly Mormons and sometimes Catholics on Twitter, come join me. I have a great deal of fun
pretty
doing
entertaining.
It is entertaining.
I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
I don't even comment.
No, you just watch.
Yeah. We have decided that that when you get to the end, you're going to tag Vinny in, and Vinny's going to give you a win or lose.
Yes.
Like,
Yep.
you won, buddy. Good job.
Can you just,
This is going to be fun.
look, when you get tired of it, can you just, like, I guess in a comment, like, tag Vinny, but then do like a wrestling, like, tag in?
Finish him.
Yeah.
That would be great.
That's great. Yeah,
Get over it. Yeah.
Hey, introduce who else is here.
Yeah, so we have to my left, we have Dear Daddy. That's Vincent Himes. And to his left, we have Justin. I call him Justinian.
What's up, my
Spice
little pepper
Daddy.
poppers?
And they are going to be doing segments
Or if you're
today.
hip, you could call him Spice Diddy.
Spice Diddy.
I don't like baby oil that much.
Spice Diddy.
That is a dark joke.
That is. There's got to be a better way to say that.
This is
No,
the
there is
crew.
not.
They're going to each have a segment that's going to be very interesting. I'm pumped for them.
Yes, right.
I don't have a segment, so I will just be in the wide shot today, which is awesome.
Yeah, you're up next week. You're
Yes.
intersecting faith and science. The ifs with Pope Creighton will be next week.
It's going to be interesting.
And
I don't
think-
know what we're doing it on
I think
yet.
I got another top 10s coming up.
You do it's gonna be Christian music, right?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be specific like aspect of Christian music?
No, I think it's
or-
going to be my top 10 favorite Christian bands of all time.
of all time.
Yeah. So far. But they've stayed pretty consistent, so.
I guess the question, like, we're gonna have to like,
Yeah, does like For Today make it on that list?
No, it doesn't. But
or do they have to still be Christians?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, like
So when they were making music that I really liked, like my favorite band when I was in high school was Under Oath. They were Christian.
Right.
When I was in college, maybe a little after college, they all fell away, renounced their Christianity, the whole lot of them.
There's a recent interview with Aaron Gillespie that you might be interested in.
Really?
Yeah.
well, there's
Send
only
me-
like
that's
there's only 1/3 of DC Talk that's still standing.
Right.
So
they are not on my list.
yeah,
Is Under Oath?
What?
Is Under Oath?
No, they're not.
Oh, what a shame.
They were. I was in
My
college.
goodness.
I was in college by the time they got here.
Dude, they're only chasing safety. Fantastic album.
Yeah, me and Lee Steven, good friend of ours of the show, and
authors of the Destiny's
Destiny's
Edge.
Great
Series, yes.
Great series. I did my top 10 pepper poppers of Christian books, and he emailed us and was like, "Hey, review my books." And I was like, "Okay, sure, why not?"
It was kind of more of like, how can you have an authoritative top 10 list if you've never read my books? And he's right.
He was right. Absolutely right. Check him out. 100%.
Yeah, go to Amazon, Destiny's Edge. I am almost done with the 5th book. In fact, I had gotten some work done, and so was sneaking in a little reading when Creighton showed up tonight. And that really, what was my reaction?
No, I walked into the room and I asked Zach something or other. And if you don't know him very well, Zach is a terrible multitasker. He cannot focus on two things.
It's non-existent.
Understandably so with book 5.
Non-existent.
But I asked him something and he just kind of grunted and went, "I've fallen into a trap." And I looked at him, and then I realized that he has like, I don't know, 40 pages left
Maybe
in
if
the
that.
book. And I was like, oh, I see where you're at. You
Yeah.
can't stop a book at 40
But
pages left.
I had to
You have
stop.
to.
No, and you're gonna get book 5. It's
no.
one of my favorites in the series.
I
so
had
far.
to stop. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna kick you guys out of here. It might be a short episode tonight. Yeah. Hey, I do. Before we get to the show tonight, I want to. Over the holiday, we had the opportunity. Jessica and I took the youngest to the movie theater to see the animated David movie that was produced by Angel Studios, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes. And it is fantastic. Like, it is incredibly, like, first, the animation itself is brilliant. It's vibrant. I mean, it's Pixar quality. Like and it's a musical. The singing's great. Phil Wickham voices the older David. Lauren Daigle's in it, voices a character. Sticks to a biblical narrative. Again, they're kind of covering the whole story of David. I say the whole story of David. They're covering the whole story of David from childhood to becoming king, and so that you can avoid some things. But it is very well done, and if you're looking for just good quality entertainment for your family, you want to have a movie night with your kids. Theodore is about to be 11. And he still very much enjoyed it, even though it was a musical. Mabel, who's 7, sweet spot, was great. We didn't even kind of bother with the 14-year-old. So the older they get, maybe not so much. But it is, again, if you got grandkids or kids, younger ones, and you're looking for something fun to watch that's wholesome, biblical, there's even like a little bit of scariness, like with the way that they portray the Amalekites, which I completely loved. I felt like it was maybe one of the most biblically accurate depictions of the Amalekites. Just great. So I just wanted to kind of pass that along to those of you, especially like grandparents. I know sometimes you have the grandkids over and you're like, we need something to do. And it's, you just don't want to, sit them in front of the TV. You don't want to use the digital stuff as a crutch. This is not a crutch. This is something that you can pop popcorn, enjoy, sit down, have fun with. And, and then it produces some great conversation. So we were able to talk to the kids about various aspects of it. And again, kind of crazy. We've got like a lot of really good, solid David content these days, from House of David, which is on Amazon, which we've done reviews for the first 2 seasons, but wanted to note David, the movie, very, very well done. So go out and support it if nothing else. Or stream it. I don't know if it's on streaming yet.
Yeah, I don't think it is. So like I gave you all a couple tickets because they were running, Angel Studios was running a Black Friday sale,
and you can become like a member of their thing.
And I was like, you know what? I love Christian movies. And what was cool about the tier level that I got was basically every month they give you 2 free tickets or 2 tickets to go to the movie theater to see
something that they're producing. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't like musicals. And,
you hooked us up.
I was like, so I gave it to you all. So I don't think it's on there yet, but if you like Christian movies like I do, great content. There's some really good shows on that app or on that.
Aren't they doing like some things with movies where they're kind of editing them for you?
I think they do that. I think
Benny, you saw something about that, right?
I know Wonder Project does that.
Maybe not Angel Studios.
Wonder Project on Amazon. Or you can get to Wonder Project from Amazon, and they do that. I think of it as the V-chip edit. That's what they called it when I was a kid, was the V-chip.
But Angel Studios have some really good like content, like original content that they've done or
producing.
Yeah. So they got this one show called the Wing Feather Saga, which is like this cartoon, and then there's another one that I've been watching that's really good, and some really good stuff on there.
You told me about like an anime.
Yeah, and they've only made one.
Called?
It's called Gabriel and the Guardians or something like that.
I need to check that out. I'm a fan of anime.
Yeah, and I think they only got 1 or 2 episodes. And I'm waiting on them to produce more. So if anybody from Angel Studios happens to be watching right now, yes, I am not an anime fan, but that was an excellent show. So
Yeah, well, we have a brother that took Blues Brothers and made it PG. John.
We do?
John.
You know what?
John
I
wanted.
guessed that it was
John
John.
wanted. He's offered it to me. He has it on like a thumb drive that he went and like actually edited it so that his kids could watch it.
That
Because-
sounds awesome.
Yeah, he's got a PG version of the Blues Brothers. So
I'm gonna have to ask him about that.
yeah. Fun fact. So tonight's you want to do a little plug? Yeah.
Before we get to the episode, Outlaw Radio is brought to you by a podcast that we also produce called Get Fed Today.
Which works great when we upload the XML.
Yes, when the XML gets uploaded, which it got uploaded late this week because reasons.
Shout out to friends that pointed that out and we fixed it.
Anyway, when the XML gets uploaded, we upload 5 Bible studies every week. We're currently at 760 something Bible studies up on the platform, maybe more than that. I lost count. We have a bunch of Bible
Good thing
studies.
it counts
If
for
you
you, though,
want
right?
if you would like,
Is it there
to
a total?
get into-
There's a count on it, right?
There's not a count. Well, I mean, there's a episode count, but I'm just trying to remember what my number is that I most recently put up on the thing because I have it on a spreadsheet. Whatever.
Gotcha.
how many
Anyway,
hours is that?
a lot. You want to get more into the Bible study. If you just want to stop getting fed once a week, if you want to get fed every day for a new Bible study, Get Fed Today, getfedtoday.com. It's on Apple, Spotify, Google. It's a podcast. Check it out. It's fantastic.
I had somebody ask me today, they weren't sure, but they were like, does Creighton do the voice
Yes, he does.
at the end? And I was like, yes. And that's awesome that you listen to the end.
Yes.
But yeah, Creighton does the voice for sure. Also was asked if I was related to Ken Adams, who's somebody recent we've added on, and he's my uncle. So yes, the answer to that is yes.
It's all in house. Also, we do have a comment before we get to the episode.
Okay.
I want to remember this because I think it's a really great topic for another episode.
Okay.
And it is from Jaina. And she says, could you do a show on the books that didn't make it into our Bible?
Absolutely.
I think that would be really
topic.
fun.
That's a great topic. That's
Yeah.
a great topic. The answer to the question is yes. We will work that into the production schedule soon. Absolutely. Thank you, by the way, for watching. I want to talk tonight. Tonight's episode is manifesting itself from a passage that we were looking at that dealt with dreams. So we're teaching through the histories, and Solomon ends up. This is 1 Kings 3. He goes to Gibeon, which is where the tabernacle is, to worship the Lord. And he has this dream, and the Lord appears to him in a dream. And this is the famous story where God comes to Solomon, a young Solomon, who's brand new regarding his position as king over Israel, and is filling big shoes, his father David. And the Lord comes and says, "What do you want?" Layman's terms, "What do you want? I'll give it to you." And Solomon asks for wisdom. He wants wisdom to be able to rule over God's people. He understands the magnitude of the responsibility. He wants to do a good job, and he recognizes that knowledge is one thing, but the appropriate application of knowledge, wisdom, to be able to judge between good and evil and to make the right decisions is something entirely different. And that's what he longs for. And God is so pleased with his answer that he then responds, "Because you didn't ask for long life or wealth or the destruction of your enemies, I will give you all those things as well." And then he wakes up from his dream. So it's an interesting story because, again, inspiration of the Holy Spirit. This is not left to conjecture, but this is very much a revelation of God through this medium known as dreams. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about dreams. We're going to talk about what a dream is. I want to get you guys' feedback on dreams. That's kind of the tease for the show tonight. Before we get there, though, I want to just, we do a segment. We call it XY of Z's posts. So I am very active on X. And so this is the Y of Z's posts. So I post about all kinds of things. I post about spiritual things. I repost Outlaw Radio, church stuff, our Psalm series. But I will also talk about the Atlanta Braves. I will rant about the Hawks or the Falcons or the Bulldogs. I talk about all kinds of things on X. I enjoy it. I don't really engage much regarding Facebook, but very much connected to X and been that way for a long time. So from time to time, I will post something and feel as though it requires maybe a little bit added commentary here on the show. And so I had posted, so Glenn Beck, a lot of you guys know, you knew it was going to be Glenn Beck.
I was trying to figure out what it was, and I just realized that because I saw that.
Because you've commented or liked it or something.
I liked it because I saw it, and we'll get to it.
You've been on the Mormon thing anyway.
Yes.
So
Y'all have been hitting him hard lately.
So anyway,
Glenn Beck or just Mormons in general?
Glenn Beck and Mormons in general, but mostly.
So, well, here's the thing about Glenn Beck so Glenn Beck, if you don't know, is a high profile conservative commentator. Glenn Beck been on the radio forever. He had a 5 o'clock slot on Fox News for several years until he got fired from that, and then started his own. The Blaze is Glenn Beck's network, and so he not only has his own show on the Blaze, but employs lots and lots and lots of conservative influencers. He is a power broker. The thing that irritates me a lot about Glenn Beck is Glenn Beck projects himself very much as being a Christian. But he's not. He's a Mormon. And Mormons are not Christians. Christians are not Mormons. And we've had episodes in the past where we've talked about that. We've gotten into the differences between the two and how the two are really Mormonism is either right or wrong. Christianity is either right or wrong, but they are both not right. Okay, so there are too many fundamental core differences regarding everything, from who Jesus is to what heaven looks like to God to the origins of humanity to the process of salvation. I mean, there is no consistent theology between the two to make them the same. They're not the same. But Glenn Beck mucks up the water intentionally, I think, by portraying himself to be like one of the good Christian guys. And a great example of this is that so Scott Adams, who was a cartoonist that did was it Dilbert?
Yeah.
Who was also a conservative influencer. Was very active online. He died a couple days ago of pancreatic cancer. And if you had followed him at all, he had like a pretty high profile bout with it, like to the point that like he was being denied treatments, and then Don Jr. got word of it, contacted HHS. They got him experimental treatments. Again, if you followed his story, but he finally passed away. And there was also an element of his story where Scott Adams was an atheist for years and years and years, but over the last couple weeks has acknowledged interest in Christianity. Now, he released a final statement where there's a whole debate about whether or not Scott Adams actually did convert or kind of hedged his bet. I don't want to get into that, but Glenn Beck, he posted, he said, "Thank you," Scott Adams says, that's the handle. He said, "You carried more than your share, and I will indeed see you later." Which again, like, let's say Scott Adams did convert to Christianity. He accepted Jesus as his Lord and Savior at the end of his life. Everything that Glenn Beck is saying is factually untrue. So I actually commented on his thread. I said, "How will you see him later? If he truly converted to Christianity, he didn't convert to Mormonism." And the Mormons would say, you're not saved then. If he converted to Mormonism on his deathbed, how does that work exactly with the Mormon religion? Because the Mormon religion, I don't really think gives room for deathbed conversion, because it is a works-based salvation. Again, I don't get a comment from Glenn Beck or engagement, but this is a great example of how I think intentionally, and it's a characteristic of cults, that they intentionally try to muddy the waters with Christianity to make them look like they're part of the fraternity, when in reality they're not. And you need to be suspect of that, careful. And so ex-wives, post, I just wanted to explain a little bit more of why I found that, and we got to call that stuff out. Biggest regret I've ever had from a political standpoint is voting for Mitt Romney. Not that I was going to vote for Barack Obama, but of all the elections that I probably should have sat out, I have more respect for a pagan communist than I do for a Mormon.
Pretty sure I wrote in Chuck Norris for that one.
Did you?
Solid.
That was. Although is Chuck Norris a Mormon? What if Chuck Norris is a Mormon?
He's not.
Do you know that for sure?
Yeah.
I don't know nearly enough
Mormons
about
can't
Chuck
roundhouse kick in blue jeans.
Valid point.
It's so funny because I was going to say, if anybody's going to become a god, it's Chuck Norris.
That's funny. Dreams. You guys had first, do you dream?
Yes.
How often do you? Okay, let me rephrase this. Everyone dreams. Every night, everyone dreams roughly 1 to 2 hours. Dreams happen. It's whether or not you remember them or you're conscious of them when you wake up. You all dream, so that was a dumb question because the answer is yes. Do you guys remember your dreams? Do you have vivid dreams? Let's start with Spice and work down the table.
The majority of them, yes.
So every night you wake up with some.
I remember either the whole dream or the majority of the dream.
Have you ever had? Okay, well I'll have a follow-up question next, Benny.
Yeah, my dreams are like movies, and I have the ability to stop them, pause them, wake up, go pee, get a glass of water, go back to bed, and start right back where I left off.
Really?
And I can recount every single detail of the dream.
Wow.
And it's been like that since I was a kid.
That's
Freaks my wife out.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's a level of lucid dreaming that I have.
Do you actually, when you get up to go pee, do you actually wake up, or are you still
yeah.
in a dream state?
No, I'm wide awake. I'll let the dogs out, go potty, stand out on the porch, 27 degrees, freeze my butt off, then go back to bed and start the dream over. And if I don't like the direction the dream is going, I can stop it and alter the, if somebody I really like.
I think that's called lucid dreaming.
Yeah, if there's somebody I really like in the dream and something bad's going to happen, I can alter the turn of events and make it a good dream.
That's fascinating. Wow. I don't even really know how to handle that one. Moving on. So one of my brothers, I don't want to throw Mac under the bus, so I'll just say Nick. It was Nick.
You could have just said brothers. You have two of them.
I do, but I don't want Mac to feel like, what are you talking about? It wasn't me. So we'll just call it was Nick. Nick had, when he was young, he had night terrors. And so I'll never forget being in our family room watching ESPN with my dad. And Nick comes running down. I mean, frantic that he was being chased by T-Rex. And my dad would have to take him to the bathroom, splash water on his face to get him to wake up, to get out of the dream, for him to go to bed. And there was a few years of that, and then he kind of grew out of it. And I could be wrong, but I faintly remember his wife Dana saying that he still does it from time to time, which would be. I could be wrong. I'm sorry. I'm sure too much information. Sorry, Nick.
Is that
that's
Nick's wife?
That's Nick. If it was Mac's wife, that would be very awkward.
Oh.
Yeah, when I was a kid, we were actually horseback riding through the Rockies and in the Rocky Mountains. That's where I grew up. And we were riding through a clear cut where they had just logged, and there was these big tufts of dead grass. And we were riding our horses through there, and I just saw a very distinct thing that you never forget for the rest of your life. And it was the outline of a grizzly bear's nose and its beady little eyes, but the rest of its body looked like those tufts of grass. And by the time I realized it, I spurred my horse and took off running. But I had that dream last night that grizzly bear was chasing me, and I'm still a little kid. And if the grizzly bear swipes the horse's legs and we get eaten, I can wake up, go chill out, have a glass of water, go back to bed, and outrun that joker every time. That is a recurring.
Vinny, this we just opened up a whole another. Hey, before I get to Creighton, if you're watching and you dream, and you want to share any of your experience, we're talking about dreams. We're going to tie this all into the Bible and maybe what this means for us. I don't even know if we're going to land the plane, but we're just going to have a fun conversation about dreams. If you'd like to join the conversation on the comments, whether if you're on Facebook.com/The Radio Outlaw, or let's say you're on our YouTube channel, sometimes we can engage outlawradio.live, or if you're on X, the stream, Justin can check that occasionally and see if you're on there. So if you want to leave a comment, we'd love to share it. If you have any dreams. Creighton, do you dream?
So I am basically the exact opposite of Vinny. If I sleep through the night and I wake up clean, and I'll explain what I mean by wake up clean. I don't remember my dreams.
You got to explain that.
I don't remember my dreams at all.
So if you sleep hard, there's
If I sleep
no
hard,
memory.
there's none of it.
Okay.
I'm
the same way as that.
If I have like where I kind of wake up, before my alarm clock, and I'm not really awake, but I'm not really sleeping, then I'll have dreams that I'll remember for maybe 10 minutes after I wake up, where I'm in like that half step between. Those I can remember, but they only last in my head for maybe 10 minutes, and then they're gone. But like the idea of remembering them,
pausing, pressing play, restructuring reality after the pee off the deck.
No, that's when I'm
trippy.
I'm unconscious. I'm off this planet. I'm gone from this world, and then I will wake up. And if I wake up all at once, I don't remember anything. But if I get into that half step between,
I'm right there with you.
Then I have a little bit of. There's a stink bug flying around.
Yeah.
Then I have a little bit of control. Like I kind of know that I'm dreaming, and I can kind of remember it. But 10 minutes after I'm gone, by the time I'm brushing my teeth in the morning, it's gone. I don't remember any of it.
So then, let me follow that up with a question. Have you ever felt that like your dream was revelatory, like that it was like there was something about it that like superseded just chemical things in your brain, but might have had a divine influence? Have you ever had a dream that you felt like was more than just a dream, but was something important?
I've had dreams where I was having issues with family members or friends or people at work, and I didn't handle it properly, and I had a dream where I did handle it properly, and I would wake up. Still to this day, I'll wake up in the middle of the night feeling extremely ashamed because I knew the way I had handled it in reality, and then the way that I handled it in the dream was like, oh, man, I freaking kind of screwed the pooch on that. But it's always been good in the sense that I could swallow my pride and go to that person and be like, man, I didn't really handle that so great, and I should have done this. But
so it's almost like your brain was reworking the scenario and played it out in a different way.
Yep.
What about you, Spice?
No, mine are more like, I guess, movies or first-person movies kind of thing. Like, I know it's a dream, and about the
Like
only
you're Iron Man or Captain America?
No, I'm me. But like one I remember was I was fighting the Predator, like the alien, the Predator.
Did you cover your body in mud?
It was amazing, dude. It was one of the best dreams. It was one of those moments where I woke up and I went back into it, and I continue the dream kind of thing.
Nice. Those are the best.
Yeah. And so those are generally the types of dreams that I dream, is like scenarios, things like that. None that are seem divinely inspired. But.
So at some point I'm going to share a little bit about like some of the dreams that I've had that were very, very much, I think, divinely inspired. And we'll get to that. But a funny story, and Creighton, this kind of ties into what you're saying about like that in-between lucidness or whatever. So when Quincy was born, first child, I had set my iPhone on a little stand in like the corner of the room and had just hit record. Like I wanted to record the whole thing from just like one perspective because I didn't want to be worried about
the actual birth.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't want to be taking pictures of anything. Like I wanted to be in the moment, but I also wanted to record the moment. So I had just set my phone up with a modest angle that captured enough, but wasn't, was appropriate that you could share it. And so I recorded it. So it was like 45 minutes, I think, in length, the video. And they recorded the whole deal. Like when things got really moving, I hit record and then hunkered down, focused on Jessica, and then Quincy was born. This whole thing. So we get home, maybe like a week later or so, and I'm laying in bed, and I am dreaming the birth, like all over again, like the most vivid dream I've ever had. Like I'm just been taken right back into the room, and dude, like the sounds were so palpable and real, like almost like it had been recorded. And I'm laying there and I'm dreaming all of this, like I'm in it. And then I open my eyes and everything's still happening. Like all of the audio, all of the sound of everything, the beeping, the screaming, the nurses and the doctors, the rigmarole, it's all still auditorily happening. But I'm in my room and I'm laying there looking up at the ceiling and I'm like, what is going on? Like I am there, but I am not there. And it freaked me out. And I sit up in bed and I'm like, I'm in my bedroom, but it's still all happening. And then I look over.
And it's auto playing on your phone.
I had put my phone in one of those, like I didn't have my charger, so I put it in one of those speaker docks, right, to charge. And I guess at some point, it decided to autoplay, and as a result, it had triggered my dream. Mm-hmm. And so I'm dreaming it like vividly, but then I wake up and the audio's still playing.
He was like in his dream, sleep talking, saying, "Hey Siri, play that time my son was born." And my phone goes.
Yeah, my phone. Yeah,
There
my
it
phone
is.
also. So we're gonna get into like what dreams actually are. I did a little research, and no one really knows, but we're gonna have some fun, at least kind of unpacking some of the theories about dreams. But before we do, we've got a segment that we call Spice Daddy Digs. This is the opportunity for Justin, who is still spending tons of money for 2 master's degrees in archaeology, one master's degree in archaeology. This gives Justin the opportunity to use his archaeology degree for something beneficial and edifying. So the floor is yours, brother.
All right, so if you haven't been following along, or maybe you don't attend Calvary 316, which you can go back and check through our archives on the church YouTube or on our website, c316.tv, I believe. Mm-hmm. We're going through what Zach's calling the harmony of histories. And so we cover some things during the life and times of, I think it's 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, and 1st and 2nd Chronicles. And a lot of cool stuff happened during this time. This is getting a little ahead of schedule, but this is from around the time of King Hezekiah, which we should be coming up to in, I don't know, probably a couple months.
Maybe the next year or two.
Yeah. If you've never been to a Calvary Chapel, or I guess Calvary 316, we do go verse by verse, chapter by chapter, and we'll get there eventually. So this is a reevaluation of some previously studied material. And so they have found Sennacherib, his throne room in Nineveh, which is in Assyria.
So I'll give some context. He was a king of the Assyrian Empire.
Correct.
And the Assyrian Empire will be, in our series, notable because God will use the Assyrians to judge the northern kingdom of Israel after the split.
Right. And I kind of have some firsthand knowledge or experience with around this time period, just from my time in Israel during my master's period, digging at Tel Azekah, which is in the Shephelah Valley where David fought Goliath. Mm-hmm. But this is during the time of King Hezekiah. Sennacherib came through and was basically destroying everything.
Until Jesus destroyed him
right
at Jerusalem.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they're going back through and looking through some of the reliefs in the throne room, and with the help of AI and some other things, they're able to like take pictures of it, enhance it, and stuff like that. And they're going through, and it looks like we're finding one of the first depictions of Jerusalem, and possibly King Hezekiah as shut up like a caged bird. Creighton, if you want to put up the first pic, I got a couple of pictures of the relief here, so you can kind of see it here.
So what is this that we're looking at?
So this is from Sennacherib's throne room.
Okay.
And oftentimes the kings would put up their depictions of different conquerings of different nations and things like that. You can go to the next one.
But is it this is the floor, the wall? What is this exactly?
This will be on the wall probably. And the Assyrians didn't really put stuff on the floor like
mosaic tiles.
Yeah, mosaic tiles. So this would have been on a wall or a column or something like that.
So it would be very similar to like the way the Egyptian hieroglyphics,
right?
Or like in a North American context,
right? And
graffiti on the walls and tribals.
Just for context, this was dug up and studied 170 years ago in the mid-19th century by British archaeologist Sir Austin Henry Layard. And this was in ancient Nineveh.
Which is Mosul? It was Mosul, Iraq?
Around Iraq, yeah. And so this happens in archaeology. A lot of people think it's one and done. We find it, we document it. No, modern techniques are coming out now that we're able to go back and look through these things and
like with forensics, we get stuff at one point, technology gets better,
right?
And then we finally learn what the thing was trying to tell us 20 years ago, but we only have DNA now.
Right. And not just that, with the advent of AI, we're able to plug stuff in, send it through AI, and it's able to give us more stuff.
Great example of this would be the Shroud of Turin.
Yes.
Just the technology of that.
So fairly recently, back in October of 2025, we're just in the beginnings of 2026, so nothing's really been published so far. And they're arguing that, go to the third picture. So in the third picture, you can see where the arrow is. That is a prominent figure, most likely a royal person or somebody of high nobility. And the only other person with the layout of the previous pictures that I showed, it matches really well with the ancient layout of Jerusalem. So we're finding out that the theory now is that depiction right there where the arrow is pointing is King Hezekiah.
Which again, what makes this incredible is that this is just further confirmation of the biblical narrative.
Right. And so about the time, if you ever want to keep along with us, maybe you come visit us at 316 or follow us along when we get to about 2 Kings 18 through 19. That's about when this happens.
That's very cool. For years, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like that was one of the big, like the story of Jonah and Nineveh. There was no actual independent records of the Assyrians ever existing, and you just give time, and that was a big criticism of the Bible.
For a long time, it was, oh yeah, your Bible claims to be true. Who are these Assyrians we've never heard of?
Right.
They don't exist in the archaeological record.
Like we know about the Egyptians and we know about Babylonians and Persians, but there's this reference to an Assyrian empire. We don't know anything about that. We have no records. See, your Bible's wrong. And now there's a whole wing of the British Museum dedicated to the Assyrian
right. And
empire.
that's the main reason why I went into archaeology, even though I haven't been able to do much with it. But
you're doing something now, Spice.
Was the fact that it's almost, and somebody asked me this, a buddy that's in anthropology. He asked me, he's like, why are you? He found out I was a young Earth creationist. He's like, why are you in this? Why are you in archaeology? I was like, man, biblical archaeology is kind of boring because everything that we read, we consistently find evidence upon evidence upon evidence, and it's just one of those things where it's boring but exciting at the same time, because a lot of people just they take the Bible for word, which is great. But at the same time, not everybody's like that to where they can just read it and be like, oh yeah, this is true and this is good. Like if they're like me, it's like, what do I see that matches up with this? And then once I see one thing and then I see another and then I see another, then the things that haven't been found yet, and I say yet because at that point, everything else has been found, which means the other stuff is probably true also. And that's just super encouraging for me, because I can look in the Bible and it's so accurate historically that it's so boring in the realm of things like Indiana Jones and things like that. It's just like, there's no mystery behind this because it's the way it happened.
One of my favorite things about Christianity is that archaeology has only ever proved the Bible correct. It's never proven the Bible wrong.
Right.
Which is different from, I'm going to go out on a limb because I haven't looked at everything, but every other religion that's ever existed.
Right.
I can't say that for certain because there are a lot of religions and I haven't looked at all of them, but I can say for certain Mormonism, and I'm pretty certain Islam have things that archaeology can be like, yeah, that's not true. That's just not true.
But it goes like just this.
You can't do that with Christianity.
Yeah, and just this example, for instance, it goes through and it has written on there that Sennacherib, it's written on there. He had Hezekiah in Jerusalem like a bird in a cage. Mm-hmm. And you read that kind of stuff.
And both of those images clearly depicted chain link fence, which means he was in a cage.
Right.
Pull him back up.
Absolutely.
And it's really cool to see now, like in the archaeological world, where we're able to go back through stuff, and there's some really cool stuff coming out through like the Dead Sea Scrolls. We're able to plug those in the AI and kind of let that run through, and it's just confirmation upon confirmation upon confirmation of how true the Bible is, and it's super encouraging.
No, that's great.
Agreed.
No, I love it. That's great. Good job. Spice Daddy Diggs. This will be released as his own standalone. Thank you, buddy. So back to dreams. I did a little digging. By digging, I asked Gronk.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. I asked Gronk to say, what are dreams? Let me read a little bit of the answer here.
So Zach Daddy digs too.
Yes. Dreams are mental experiences that occur during sleep, typically involving a succession of images, ideas, emotions, sensations, and dynamic scenes that feel involuntary and often vivid. They can range from simple thoughts to elaborate dreamlike narratives, and while they happen throughout the night, the most intense and memorable ones usually take place during rapid eye movement or REM sleep, when brain activity ramps up significantly. And then it says humans spend more than 2 hours dreaming per night on average, with individual dreams lasting 5 to 20 minutes. Dreams, though, aren't limited to REM sleep. They can also happen during non-REM stages, though those tend to be less vivid and more thought-like, which explains what you're saying, Creighton, just about like in that fog of early morning. I had the same. And those, if I don't like them, I wake up and like try to stay awake long enough that if I go back to sleep, I'm not going back to, I can't do what Vinny does. Pause, stop, rewind, reinterpret. Research shows that different brain regions might not, quote, fall asleep at the same rate, which could explain why dreams start as soon as we doze off. Even if dreams feel real in the moment, people often forget them when they wake, even though everyone dreams nightly. This might be kind of a crazy thing. So like understanding what dreams are, it gets more complicated when you acknowledge the reality that like science doesn't actually know what sleep is. Like Creighton, you can kind of speak to this, but like it's a trippy thing. Like we don't actually really know what sleep really is, how that works.
Right, because it comes down to the idea of the difference between your mind and your brain. Like, the brain is shutting down in a way, but like, what does that mean? Because all of the cells are still alive.
Like
the
how are you
cells
actually
can't turn off.
How are you resting?
What does it mean to be like? We know that we need it. We know that without it, we will die. We know that the body does a lot of things during the sleep cycles and that the brain does a lot of things during the sleep cycles. But what does it actually mean to be unconscious? Because what does it mean to be conscious? Our brain is not firing. But yeah, what does it mean for meat to turn off?
Like dreams, like it's a very interesting topic. First, what sleep is, but then you compound that with now like what is happening. And there are theories.
How can it be both turned off and having vivid dreams where the ones that I do remember, I feel like I have touch, taste, smell, and see. Like all of my senses are working, even though none of my senses are
Okay, that which I mean that's probably a great segue because so when I was in a coma, I had incredibly vivid dreams. So I was in a coma for roughly 4 weeks, give or take, 4 or 5 weeks, and then there
It felt
was
so much longer than that on
sure
our
did.
side.
Oh my goodness.
Like when I recounted,
It
I told people you were in a coma for 2 months. Like it felt.
well,
felt for a
I had
really
disappeared.
long
I
time.
had disappeared
Yeah.
from you guys for 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And then came back an alien. You know, like
And it was a long 10 weeks.
yeah, it was a stressful 10 weeks.
yeah. Sorry, it was stressful for you guys. Man,
Yeah.
You had to be there.
darn.
He slept through most of it. It was stressful for us.
No, he
Sorry,
missed-
that stunk.
He missed probably one of the greatest Super Bowl halftime shows of all
I
time.
didn't.
No. He was awake for that. He
was
watched
awake.
it with his mom, I
that's
think.
That was one of the big things that hit me is that so like when you come out of a coma, the movies make it sound like you wake up and like ta-da, you're there. That's not how it works. Like there's a especially when you're coming off of sedation and a lot of other things. There's a process to that where you're in and out. You're in consciousness, you're out of consciousness, and then what you remember gets fuzzy. Like it's a weird thing. But it was like months later. I was home months later, and I was watching I was watching TV, and there was a commercial where it was Matthew Stafford. I don't know if it was like a chip commercial or something, but it was about him winning the Super Bowl, and I was like, yeah, he won the Super Bowl.
I remember that.
I remember watching the game, and I was like, wait a second, when did he win the Super Bowl? And so like I immediately Googled like when did Matthew Stafford win the Super Bowl, and it was February 13th of 2022. I was awake, but not like it was, everything was very, very, very fuzzy. So like I remembered watching that Super Bowl. I remembered the halftime show with Dr. Dre and all of
50
that.
Cent hanging upside down.
I
that was
remember
a good one.
I remember all of that. I watched it with my mother. My mom was at the hospital that Sunday, and I watched it with my mom because you guys had a Super Bowl party here, I think, without me.
We sure did.
Yeah.
Jessica said you wouldn't want to not have it, even though you weren't here. So we all showed up.
Yeah. I appreciate you taking one for the team.
And you FaceTimed me 2 days later for my birthday.
I did. I remember that.
Yep.
I remember that. But like, as an example, 10 days after that, the 23rd of February, my brother Nick flew from Jersey, spent the whole day with me, gave me a shave. We watched like 3 movies. I have zero memory of him ever being there. So like,
crazy.
like it's a very weird thing. But I did have incredibly vivid dreams, like to the point that they were as real as reality. And they dealt with like deep existential things. They resolved a lot of relational conflicts that had been in my life. Like they were so real that I had an instance, again, moving forward into the summer, where I'm sitting, it's a June night, it's a late ball game, sitting on my couch watching the Braves. The kids are asleep. Jessica's watching a show in the bedroom. The game's over. I turn it off, and I have this thought, because the dreams are so real, is like, how do I know I'm awake? Like, what if I'm actually, because if I was really awake, obviously my arms would work. My arms are not working. So clearly, maybe I'm still sleeping. And I walked into the bedroom and Jessica looked at me and was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Am I awake?" She goes, "I really hope so." You know, like I knew I wasn't dead. I knew I wasn't in purgatory, be absent from the bodies, be present with the Lord. But like I know what like dreams, like, and for me, mine were there was meaning to them. There are theories about the purpose of dreams. One is memory and emotional processing. Dreams may help consolidate memories, process daily experiences, and reduce the emotional sting of painful events over time. Vinny, I think this is a good example of kind of like some of the things that you've done where it's like you had a thing that happened and you're psychologically you're dealing with it, and your dream, your brain's still working, processing.
Yeah, I was just thinking that while you were talking, because there was some family conflicts and stuff that never really got talked about in real life, but I resolved it in my dreams. And so then it would be like, Thanksgiving the next year, and I'm like, "Hey man, how you doing?" And they're kind of like, "Why are you even talking to me?" I'm like, "We're good.
Go, we fixed this,
like,
right?
We're good.
Right.
Like, I had a dream. We're good. It's over." But yeah, and then you realize it, and you feel like an idiot, and it's like, yeah, that didn't actually happen.
I dreamed that.
Yeah.
Another theory is that dreams are about problem solving and learning. The thesis is that by weaving in elements from walking life, recent events, memories, dreams might aid in solving problems, learning new information, or calming down after stress. Psychoanalytic views, and this is very much in, and I have some printed off material. I don't think we'll get to it, but like Sigmund Freud was really big into the psychoanalyzation of dreams, and he took a very sexual angle to it.
Of course he did. Sigmund Freud.
Yeah, but he saw dreams as expressions of like repressed wishes, unconscious desires. There were symbolic messages of the unconscious mind. A physiological byproduct is another theory that some scientists argue that dreams are simply a side effect of brain activity during sleep, and therefore really don't have any deeper purpose. But that's very much debated. It's interesting, the conclusion to the question is dreams often incorporate real life elements like fears, desires, or memories, but they're not true in a literal sense. They're brain created narratives that can feel symbolic or random. Factors like stress, diet, medications can influence their content, practices, et cetera, et cetera. Now,
So where would my dream about me fighting the predator fit in? Would that be a desire
Maybe
or
Wish fulfillment. You want to
I
fight
don't
the
think we
predator.
need to
in
go
real
there
life.
on the Outlaw Radio Show, Justin.
or
Those were tentacles.
no, it was definitely the predator. It was invisible and everything, had his little laser gun and everything.
it's the invisible IRS man making you still pay
Oh,
student
that's
loans
it.
or something.
Yep.
The man keeping you down.
You got
What
a
is it,
permit for that saw.
What is the government student loan? Sally Mae?
There's a few of them now.
Yeah, he's got most of them. So here's the wrinkle and the whole dream thing is we all dream. Some of us remember them, some of us don't. What are they? We really don't know. I think there's probably truth in all the different theories. But what can we say about dreams that is true? And this is where like our episode is going to pivot. What we can say as a truth regarding dreams, and we know it's a truth because it's articulated in what is the truth, and that is God's word, is that God can communicate through our dreams. And he can reveal things about himself. He can reveal things about the present. He can reveal things about the future through dreams. And we can say that without a shadow of a doubt, which takes the whole dream thing to a whole different place when we realize the Bible, while we might not know what the heck these are, God can use them. And there are many examples of this, which we'll get to when we come back from our next segment. Vinny, we call him affectionately Dear Daddy. We have a bit of a play.
Dear Daddy.
We have a bit of a play on words, a segment that we call Dear Daddy, where the audience can submit a question to Dear Daddy. And so if you have a question, drop us an email, pokecreighton@gmail.com. Here's a question that we have. This is a good one.
They always are.
This is a good one. It'll be interesting to see which angle you take with this.
So if you don't know, Vinny has not heard this question before. Also, neither have me or Spice Daddy. But Vinny has to answer the question. Never heard it before. This is all off the cuff.
And
Live, unscripted.
This comes through me.
It's wonderful.
Because I'm the one with access to, ironically, pokecreighton@gmail.com. So here's the question. Dear Daddy.
You did that really good.
I did. I thought so. How do you balance the idea of honoring your father and mother with the autonomy of having your own family? Woohoo! Woohoo! That's spicy.
That is a spicy
That's
meatball.
spicy.
We got some hot sauce back there if you need to take a shot beforehand.
Well, the first place that my brain goes to is if you're out of the house and raising your own family, you've already honored your father and mother to the level that the Bible tells us to, and you're kind of at the point where you're your own man, and you're now in a position where hopefully you honored your father and mother, and you're raising children that can now honor you and your spouse. There's never been a point in my adult life where I had to call my mom and dad up and see if I was doing something right. Because there's a lot of things my parents did that I don't want to do that way, and that I want to do differently to ensure that my children do honor me, where maybe I was a little dishonorable, a little rebellious because of the way I was raised. So I think at that point, when you're raising your own kids, you're done honoring your father and mother to that extent. But the
Bible still says to honor your father and mother, and there's not a qualification. Now, there's a difference between obeying your father and mother.
Yeah.
The Bible doesn't say obey your father and mother, but it does mandate that we honor our father and mother. And
Yeah,
let me play that real quick because I know your life.
Yeah.
You have had. Let's set your mom and dad aside for a second. Let's focus on Joan. Talk about who Joan is, her situation, and how you're honoring your mother-in-law.
Yeah, and I've done the same with my mom and dad as well. You know, I've kind of taken the stance of mom, dad, mother-in-law. You raised my wife, you raised me for 18 years, and now here we are in the situation where you're getting older, more elderly, and I made it known to my mom and dad and my mother-in-law that we are now here to take care of them for the next 18, 20, 30, however many years. You know, as
3 or 4.
As they age and lose abilities to care for themselves, I want them to know that we are very much ready to take over those responsibilities and make sure that they're taken care of.
So, like, practically, what does that look like with Joan, your mother-in-law?
She got hurt. She lived in Montana by herself, and she slipped and fell and got hurt, and we didn't find out about it for days, so that really upset me that she was sitting in a hospital alone, and we didn't know about it. And so I extended the invitation that if she would want to move down here, we would give her a place to live for free, no rent, no bills whatsoever. Mm-hmm. But if she got hurt again, we would be here to take care of her immediately.
Yeah,
so that she's not laying in a hospital alone somewhere with nobody knowing about it. So that bothered me, and yeah, that's honoring your father and mother late into life, till the end of life, and then ensuring that their wishes at the end of their life be carried forward. So,
I think, and I'm going to throw this out there with like your thought on it, because I know this is still a challenge, because there's complications when it comes to relationships and history. But I think the idea of honoring your father and mother come back to like a core heart that we're supposed to have towards our parents. Like, I'll speak, if you don't, I know this is your segment, but just to kind of speak personally, I've had some very complicated things happen with my relationship with my father over the last year, 2025. And I only bring it up because it's been part of the show. But that doesn't negate the part of my responsibility of obeying God to honor my father and my mother. And I know that there was a dynamic where we hadn't talked much at all, and I was teaching through David and Absalom. And I kind of made the point, like, David really screwed up a lot of things with his relationship with Absalom. He doesn't reach out to Absalom. Like, Absalom is just left floating in the wind. And I taught a Bible study. I don't know if you remember it, but where I made the point, like there's nothing a son can do to fix a relationship with a father. It's incumbent on the father to act to fix a relationship with the son. And like, that's a freeing thing if you're a son, because if dad's not, if he doesn't care, I'm free. Like, there's nothing I can do. And I taught this whole Bible study, and I came home, and the Lord was like, yeah, but you still have to honor your father and mother, which means that it's a heart thing. Mm-hmm. There's still something that you have to try to keep doing. And so, like, it was like I had just committed to coaching Theodore in basketball. So I reached out to my dad and was like, hey, and we hadn't talked. I was like, I'm coaching Theo. Would you love to would help me? And that opened like this huge floodgate. Like, right now, my relationship with my father is better than I think it's ever been in the history of my life. And, but I think honoring comes back to, like, there's a heart thing. Agree, disagree? What are your thoughts on that? And then we'll
I
move
agree
forward.
100%. It's not where my brain went at first, but yeah, coming full circle. I mean, I've made it clear to my parents that as they age, I'm here to take care of them. If the other siblings do or don't or are indifferent, I don't care. And I don't care about any family trauma or drama or anything that they're holding on to. At this point, I have forgiven all wrongs as a choice for myself.
Yeah. That freedom.
You can stay angry at your parents for things they did that you didn't like when you were a kid as long as you want. I just got to a point where I no longer wanted to be angry about anything. And so I just inadvertently forgave my parents for everything and made that known. Look, you guys made mistakes. You know that. I know that now as a parent. It's things you did that I would never do to my kids. It's all forgiven. It's over. And from here on out, if you guys need a place to stay or if you need help or medical care or what have you, like, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I think that's great. Again, the question was, how do you balance the idea of honoring your father and mother with the autonomy of having your own family? And I think it all comes back down to the heart.
Yep.
It's a heart towards your parents. Diving back into this concept of dreams, which is such a complicated, weird, there's so much mystery about dreams. And then it gets, you got Freud and you've got different psychology, like you have different theories and different things all about dreams. And then the wrinkle that just gets thrown into the pond is that God uses dreams. Like, you know what I mean, Creighton? Like
a great deal, it seems. There are a lot of times where God uses dreams to talk to people, both his followers and others.
And non-believers. I'm going to run through real quick, like all the dreams in the Bible, like just to establish this point. So you have this the first dream, the first dream in the Bible was by a pagan.
Oh, I'm trying to guess it and it's not coming to me. Who is it?
Abimelech. So God appears to Abimelech, the king of Gerar, in a dream to warn him against taking Abraham's wife Sarah as his own wife, revealing that she's married and commanding him to return her or he's going to die. This is Genesis 20. So Abraham's worried about Abimelech, pretends like Sarah's his sister. She's beautiful. So Abimelech's like, I'm going to marry that babe. And God's like, if you do that, I'm going to kill you in a dream.
Abraham does that twice, doesn't he? Because he did that with Egypt as well.
He does it again.
Boy, okay.
Yeah.
It worked the first time.
Right. Very effective.
But but again, so what do we learn? Like God used a dream to warn someone about a present dynamic happening in their life, and to reveal a component they would have never known in the natural. Right?
Right.
That's trippy. Like, that's a trippy thing. Like that God, and again, this is not a believer or a Christian. Like, God just uses a dream to be like, and he knows it. Like, that's the other thing.
That's what's interesting, is that Abimelech, who is not a follower of God, who at this point, probably the only interaction he's had with any of God's people is Abraham saying that this is my
Lack of faith.
But
he knows what's going on.
But also, you got to think how far removed was he from Noah?
You're talking Abimelech was.
Yeah. So I think there
Like
was
3
still,
generations.
Yeah,
Like,
there
not that
wasn't
far.
No.
Right. So I think it was a whole nother dynamic in terms of
That's true. That's a valid point.
yeah.
Next dream in the Bible, you're going to find it in Genesis 28, and it's a very famous story that Jacob has done a little switcheroo for the birthright with Esau, and he has fled, and he gets to Bethel, and he dreams of a ladder reaching to heaven with angels ascending and descending, and then God speaks, promising him the land, numerous descendants, protection, and it's an encouragement, it's covenant renewal. But like,
Jacob's ladder is a very famous story.
yes, but what's interesting about that is, like, are these things that so like, one of the theories about dreams is that dreams can only play on subconscious things that exist. Like, you don't have dreams with invented characters. You dream of a grizzly bear because you've seen a grizzly bear. Like, you're not inventing things that you've never seen before. And yet Jacob's dream here is has he ever seen an angel? No, he hasn't. Has he seen a physical depiction of an angel? No, not at all. Like, there are
Right.
aspects of this particular dream that transcend his memory bank.
So do you think that's the telling part of whether it's a message from God or if it's just a dream where you're just dreaming something crazy?
I don't know. Let's look at some more
could be.
dreams and see. The next dream, I didn't even know this one. Genesis 31. The whole, like, he's dealing with the whole thing where he's working for Laban. 7 years for Rachel, 7 years for Leah, like the whole switcheroo thing, all that happens. But he has a dream where God basically instructs him about breeding the livestock with the speckled patterns.
Oh yeah, he has a dream about selective breeding.
Yeah. Like, that's how
I forgot about that.
That's how selective breeding is introduced to humanity, is through the revelation of God.
I forgot about that, but I do remember that story.
You get to then God warning Laban to not harm Jacob. Like, there's a warning there. You get to Joseph, who is like the dreamer of dreamers.
King of dreams.
He has 2 dreams of the sheaves of the stars bowing down to the one that he decides to share with his family. Like, hey, you're all gonna worship and bow down before me. Not exactly what you want to be sharing to brothers.
Not the wisest man in the group.
Not the wisest decision. But he shares that dream. That ends up resulting in him being, thrown into a pit and sold into slavery. But then he gets down there, and then Pharaoh has a dream. Lots of dreams in Genesis. Genesis 41. Pharaoh has the dreams of the cow and the grain.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's the dreams of the baker and the steward.
that's not even listed here. Those come before that.
Yeah.
Because that's how
That's how he gets out of. That's how Joseph gets out of prison.
That's how the butler gets out.
Yeah, and that's how Butler gets out, and then Butler
Tells
reminds
Pharaoh,
when Pharaoh has his dream.
I know a guy with dreams. I know a guy that's good with dreams.
The Bible endorses knowing a guy.
But but the whole Pharaoh's dream is about 7 years of famine that's coming. Like, again, that's predictive.
Mm-hmm.
That's a prophetic dream. Also, though,
given to a non-believer.
Given to a non-believer, but who has no idea what it means, knows there's a meaning, but has no idea what it means and needs someone else to interpret it, which Joseph becomes the first person in Scripture that is an interpreter of dreams.
You know what this is sounding like to me? I don't know if you're going to get to it.
We don't know where we're going.
I know, we never do. But the Islamic world right now is being rocked by Muslims coming to the faith because they're seeing dreams of Jesus.
I have heard that.
And it's not just dreams of Jesus, but Jesus saying, hey, go see this guy at this place in this time.
Yes, we're going to get to that.
Okay. I didn't know if you were going to get to that, but that's what this is sounding like.
Coming back to Pharaoh, I think I can tie it into that. One of the things with Pharaoh is that not only does Pharaoh know that it's a prophetic dream, he knows well enough to say, you need to tell me what the dream is and then give me its interpretation. He doesn't tell, like, because he calls all of the, or am I thinking
that's Nebuchadnezzar? That's Nebuchadnezzar.
I'm thinking Nebuchadnezzar and Daniel. Mm-hmm. We'll get there.
Yeah,
I was mixing two dreamers.
It is.
Welcome to the biblical world of dreams throughout.
Although I do think I have to go back and look. You can look at the passage. That might be true about Pharaoh. That was the litmus test to like tell me what the dream was. But I can't say.
I know it's true about Nebuchadnezzar.
You have time. Look, you have the world's inner information at your fingers.
We're only in like 3000 BC right now.
By the way, though, what is interesting is like you have dreams. Very much a part of this dynamic through Genesis, but after Joseph, they're gone till Solomon, which is 500 years where we have there's not any dreamers in fact, dreams almost get replaced with like the physical appearance of the angel of the Lord.
Are they really gone, or are they just not?
Well,
documented?
They're not documented. People dream every night. But as far as our record scripturally, we just don't have them until you get to Solomon. Again, that's 1 Kings 3. Was it? No.
No, Pharaoh did tell his servants what the dream was, and they couldn't interpret it. And that's when the butler says, I know a guy.
So after Solomon's dream, again referenced 1 Kings 3, then you have Nebuchadnezzar's statue dream, Daniel 2. And that's the one where he's so freaked out about what it is. He tells all of his wise men, like, the only way I know that you're going to get the interpretation right is that you need to also tell me the dream. And they're like, we can't do that. So he starts having them all murdered. Mm-hmm. And then they get to Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Daniel and his three amigos. And Daniel's like, give us a night. And the Lord reveals it. They worship God that night before they even go to Nebuchadnezzar. And Daniel's like, let me tell you the dream, and then I'll tell you what it means. And it's like Daniel 2 is one of the most radical prophetic passages in all Scripture. But given to Nebuchadnezzar, so you have Joseph, who's a dream interpreter. You have Daniel, who's very much a dream interpreter. Nebuchadnezzar has a tree dream. Daniel will have the beasts, the ancients of days. Like Daniel has a crazy... Joseph has a crazy relationship with dreams. Daniel has a crazy relationship with dreams.
And apparently Nebuchadnezzar has a crazy relationship with dreams.
Yes. You get to the New Testament, we have dreams, and it's Joseph again. Different Joseph. But you know the whole Christmas story? Like all of the revelation and movements for Joseph are by dreams. How does he betroth? He's convinced to betroth Mary because of an angel appearing to him in a dream. The wise men are warned in a dream. Joseph is warned in a dream. Joseph returns from Egypt because of a dream. Joseph settles in Galilee and he doesn't go back to Bethlehem. He goes to Nazareth and not Bethlehem because of a dream.
Can we pause for a second?
We can pause.
Like Vinny in a dream.
Yeah.
Like Vinny in a dream.
Right.
I gotta pee.
There's one more dream in the Bible.
Right. I just want to pause for some second because this sounds so weird to me because I've never had it. Maybe it's because God's never spoken to me through dreams or I just wasn't listening. But it seems like all of us have had dreams, right? Have any of us done something so radically different because of a dream and acted upon that? So it had to be something like such a significant dream that they're like, hey, this is different than the normal dreams I have. This is different than me fighting the predator. This is different than me doing...
Right. For a dream to spur action in real life, it must be something radical that you see.
Right.
And you're clearly not forgetting it 10 minutes after you wake up.
Right. And it has to be something where you're just like, hey, God did something. Even Nebuchadnezzar, right? I'm sure he had nightmares and he had dreams and stuff like that, but something freaked him out so much about this dream that he had to get his wise men involved. And then he had to kill those guys. And then he had to and do so on and so forth, right? So
I was talking to a friend today about dreams, and she told me that her daughter told her this morning that she had dreamed last night she was going to have a little brother, not knowing that her mom is pregnant.
That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, remind me to ask you who after.
Like wild. But I've had dreams where there's people involved that I've immediately gone and followed up with that there have been reasons for.
That goes back to a concept we've talked about on the show before about following the prodding of the Holy Spirit. If you
Like
think
what
of
about
somebody,
dreams? What about
right.
dreams?
If you
Following
think
the prodding of a
somebody-
dream.
right? This is the thing that you've talked
Okay,
about.
we're
where
gonna
it's
get
like if you-
we're
Okay,
getting
okay,
towards
go for it.
we're getting towards the landing. Let me just close out. There's one more dream in the New Testament. It's in the book of Acts. No, not the book of Acts. Matthew chapter 27. You want to take a guess at who dreams a dream at like one of the most pivotal moments in human history? And this guy ignores his wife's dream, and it ruins his life.
Okay, I'm gonna take a shot in the dark because I don't know if I'm right, but I feel like it's Pontius Pilate. Does he have
His wife?
His wife has a dream
His wife has a
about
dream.
Jesus, and
Yes.
he's like,
And she's like, leave this man alone, have nothing to do with him. You need to get out of this situation very
Yes.
quickly. Yes.
Yeah, he didn't really have a choice to listen to her.
Well, it ruined his life. So, I mean, again, the summary is that dreams are used by God from the Bible for divine intervention, which often will involve angels and symbolic imagery, as well as like specific instruction, divine revelation. Like it's again, like we get into this weird component about like we don't know what dreams are, but we do know unequivocally that God can use dreams for purposes. Now let's bring this home a little bit. In Acts chapter 2, verse 14, this is in response to Pentecost. Peter, standing up with the 11, raised his voice, said to them, "Men of Judea and all who dwell in Jerusalem, let this be known to you, and heed my words. For these are not drunk, as you suppose, since it's only the third hour of the day. But this is what was spoken by the prophet Joel." And he's going to quote Joel 2:28. "And it shall come to pass in the last days, says God, that I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your young men shall see visions. Your old men shall dream dreams."
So maybe that's why I haven't seen any dreams from God, because I'm not considered an old man yet.
You are already there.
I love that he had to clarify that he wasn't drunk at 9 a.m.
Which again, we can talk about. I mean, we could also talk
there's
about
something there for sure.
we can also talk about the fundamental difference between a vision and a dream. That's its own conversation.
That's a good conversation.
But the exhortation is in the last days. We're going to see God articulate, communicate through dreams. And so to me it's like and Creighton, I think you kind of touched on things about like following the leading of the Spirit. Obviously, the greatest revelation that you'll have with God, like the primary mechanism, because I don't want this to go the wrong way. The primary mechanism by which God will communicate himself to you is through his word. 100%. However, God can also use dreams. And so maybe we should be more, especially the ones we remember, that we should be more conscious of them. Like the supernatural. And again, Justin, you touched on the fact that we have a lot of evidence right now in the world, especially in places where the Bible is restricted, where the revelation of God's word isn't available. Like Jesus is still revealing himself using dreams. And again, there are.
It's not just here and there. It's
predominant.
It's upwards of 1 million people, like within the Islamic world, that are having.
Lee Strobel writes about it. I think in the Case for Miracles, there is a significant amount of evidence that this is happening. But, I mean, I bring this up to say that like God can reveal Himself to you through dreams. When was the last time you prayed for that? I'm just kind of getting trippy. I'm getting trippy here, but like, when was the last time you're like, God, like reveal yourself to me tonight, or reveal a solution to this problem. Communicate to me through my rest.
I've never prayed that because I didn't think about it, but there was a time where I was sitting at my desk at work and I felt this unbelievable need to pray for a customer of the shop's wife. And it was so awkward that it was like annoying. Like if I reach out to that lady, I'm going to seem like a perv. And like, I'm not doing it. And then like 2 days later, the customer who I had a relationship with, a friendship, like a very young friendship, like we weren't hanging out at each other's house, but he would come into the shop, drop his truck off, hang at my office, and we'd talk for half an hour or so about nothing, just life. Never spiritual, never anything. A couple days after I had that feeling, he came into the shop, dropped his truck off, and was like, hey, my wife and daughter were in a horrible car accident the other day. There was no way I could have ever known about it. And they were fine, but they found out that she was pregnant because of the car accident. I was so unbelievably embarrassed that I didn't listen, because it was obviously the Holy Spirit putting her on my heart. There was no reason for me to be thinking about this woman. I'd never met her. I had only met her husband. She had dropped him off at the shop once or twice, seen her sitting in the car. No reason for me to ever think about that woman, but it was so heavy on my heart, and I ignored it because I thought it would be embarrassing.
Right.
And then I justified it, like, oh, you can't call another man's wife and pray with her. That's freaking creepy. Like, but after that happened and that played out, I was sitting alone on my deck having a cigar the following Friday, and I did pray. I said, God, the next time you put somebody on my heart, I don't care who it is, I don't care what time of day it is, I don't care how awkward and weird and stupid it may seem, I will reach out and talk to that person. I will call them, I will text them. And I've done it 1,000 times since then. Sometimes they answer, sometimes it's nothing. But I always end it, and I don't want it to be weird or creepy. I just say, you know what? I made a deal with God that if He put you on my heart, that I would follow up. And
the only way I know if it was God or not is for me to follow up.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that crazy adventure of faith.
And it's never turned into anything, and I don't want it to ever turn anything. But if it does, I'll know that I listened.
And I guess the point of tonight's episode is like, again, I say the point of tonight's episode, and then I lead it with a great pause. You know, like, what is the point of tonight's episode? We're in this passage in 1 Kings chapter 3 about God revealing Himself to Solomon in a dream. And that's such a unique thing. Like, we have not seen that at all in our travels through the histories. God did not communicate that way. I mean, Samuel, as a kid, like the book opens, Samuel, as he's in the tabernacle. It's not a dream. He's awake. He runs to Eli. What's going on? Well, next time you hear it, reply. Like, it's not a dream. Like, they just talk. And when David needs revelation, he sends a prophet. Like, there is like these very established mechanisms of communication, revelation. And then you get to Solomon, and God doesn't send a prophet. He doesn't send an intermediary. God comes to him directly in a dream. And just reading through that, it's like, it just struck me so odd because it's such an abnormal thing in the flow of the histories. But then when you take a step back, this is why I didn't do this on Sunday, because it would be like its own topical message. But it's like, when you really take a step back and you start looking at, like, you list like the way God communicates to people, dreams are pretty high up. Like we just went through a bunch of examples of it. And yet how often are we sensitive to the fact that maybe God is trying to say something to us through our dreams, but it's such a, like, this crazy thing. But the Bible seems to establish an idea that this is one of the way that God does it. And then we're told in Acts 2 that, hey, in the last days, he's going to do it more.
Right. It's going to grow, not shrink.
Well, I think when you're
So
dreaming,
shouldn't we be more sensitive to it?
Well, when you're dreaming, you're at your most vulnerable, right? Spiritually and mentally. You can't just be like, oh no,
Shrug it away.
Yeah, shrug it away.
Except for Benny can pause it, rewind it, move it forward.
But the vast majority of people, like, when you dream a dream and you remember it, like, I still remember a dream when I was like 5 or 6. Like, it's like burned into my brain kind of thing. And it's when you have those dreams, that's when you're most vulnerable, when you're most open. And so it just kind of makes sense that.
Listen, can it be a portal? Is it a portal that God can use to communicate? And should sometimes, and again, I know that this sounds weird, but like, Lord, speak to me through my dreams. Because you do that, and it's a very vivid way. And then I'll make a deal with you that if you do, I'm just going to be more sensitive to, if I remember the dream, that maybe there's something I'm supposed to be learning, taking away, acting upon. Because we do know that in the last days, these things are going to increase. And are we towards the last days? And if so, maybe we should be more sensitive to it. That's kind of the whole point of the episode.
I don't know, because as a young man, I haven't had any visions.
No. But we're all dreaming dreams here. None of us are visioning visions.
No, for sure.
Nope. We're all past the visions. We're all in the dreams area.
If you've ever wondered if you're an old man or not, just if you have a dream or a vision, that's the dividing line.
This right here is a good indication. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us tonight with the Outlaw Radio Show. If you are watching, thank you. Check out the podcast. What you're watching gets released as an audio podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, as long as Creighton puts out the XML file. If you are listening to the Outlaw Radio Show, hang out with us one Wednesday night. We stream the show. What you're listening to, we stream video primarily on our YouTube channel, which is outlawradio.live. We also stream to @Zach_Adams, my X account, as well as facebook.com/TheRadioOutlaw. Thank you so much for joining us. And Creighton's going to say something snarky.
No, I'm not. I was just going to say like, comment, and subscribe.
Like, comment, and subscribe. God bless. See you.